Hey, everybody. I thought I'd hop on and do a quick live to, I don't know, share some of my thoughts and feelings over the weekend. Um, I don't, I have some things that I'd like to talk about, but nothing feels right now. Um, I don't know why this stuff with Charlie is hitting me so hard, but I think it's actually has a lot more to do with the response to his death than um, the actual death itself. People wonder why everyone cares so much about Charlie instead of the politician that was shot here recently in her own home after voting against her colleagues. The school shooting, we still don't have any for information about the school shooting. Nothing on the shooter has been released. So that's a big black hole of just questions. But I think the reason that this is hitting me so hard is, for one, I was able to go watch videos of Charlie. There are video after video after video. So every time I read a quote online that someone said, well, he got what he deserved because he said this. I went and found the video and I watched the entire video. So I got to see the context that the quote was taken out of. And I'm trying so hard to learn to temper my language, but it has been so hurtful to see what people will say in blind hate, and they don't think that they're the ones. They think the other side is the problem. It's the same. It is why I deleted my Facebook account in 2020. It wasn't the virus that I was scared of, or it wasn't necessarily the people dying, was terrible. Um, I deleted my Facebook in 2020 because I couldn't stomach seeing the way people were treating each other. I couldn't stomach watching people that I had known for years begin to show the same behaviors that I had read about in autobiographies or biographies about the Chinese Cultural Revolution. I started to watch people turn into little red guards, and it shook me to my core. Um, I would imagine those same people are probably the people who are smugly smiling publicly about a father, a husband, and a man of God being murdered. I can't, it's a level of darkness that I'm having a really hard time reconciling. Um, and I don't know like exactly why this makes me so emotional. Like, yeah, it hits home. Like, yeah, I have been threatened by an absolute local psychopath. I've been accused of being a right-wing extremist. I've been accused of being a Republican. I've never been registered as a Republican once in my life. I've been a NAV voter my whole life. I registered as a Democrat once to vote in a primary because I wanted to vote for a Democrat in that election. So I registered as a Democrat so I could vote for the person that I wanted to run in the election in the primary. Other than that, I've always been independent. So I've been politically targeted, but that's not all it is. I think when you realize that someone you thought would care about you has such horrible things to say about a person that's so much like you. I think I see a lot of myself in Charlie. My love of difficult conversation. I am such a good coach because I can get into that Socratic method of questioning that makes people explore their minds deeper. Great skill to have. for coaching. But if a person isn't prepared for it and they're not prepared to go through that mental exploration, I think it can be really stressful because you ask people to explain their ideas. And I found that with a lot of people, that's where they get really agitated. But seeing so much of myself in Charlie, I mean, I'm not really particularly conservative. I'm quite a bit more liberal than Charlie was. And I'm not a Christian, but I do have the utmost respect for the faiths that people use to govern themselves. But just to know that people would probably spread the same lies about me. And it makes me think that some people I've had in my life may not care about me like I thought they did. Because if they would say the things that they've said, and I'm being vague intentionally, if they would say the things they said about Charlie and believe the lies that they believed about him when they could have done a Google search of their own, then they would do it to meet him. And if they hated Charlie that deeply to be able to say the things he said, they'd hate me too. And when I say they, I mean people in my life, people I've known for a long time. So when you realize that people who have masqueraded as your friend for years probably hate you, it's really hurtful. Um, I just, the more of his video, I spent a lot of time watching his videos this weekend because I never had. I didn't really know who the guy was. I knew what he was about. Like professionally, I kind of knew about him, in the social commentary world. But I am very well versed in Christian beliefs. I come from the left. I affiliate with the right. So Charlie, maybe I felt like didn't offer anything new for me. So I just was like, he seems like a great guy that's doing his thing, but I just never watched his stuff. And over the weekend, after his death, I started watching his stuff and watched it all through the weekend and reading what people are writing about him that are blatant lies. I mean, like omitting the truth. Like, how much of the truth do you omit before it becomes a lie? Like, if you cherry pick facts, at what point are you telling a story that is untrue because you have omitted so many other details so as to completely change the storylines? I mean, at some point, you're just lying. So I haven't had a lot else on my mind. I find myself going out into public and wondering, like, would that person celebrate if they found out I died? Like, what a weird thing to wonder when you look at a person and you think they're, because a lot of people wear their politics like very outwardly. Like you can really see that they think a certain way about things. And I'm kind of look at those people and I'm like, I wonder if that's a person who would cheer if I died. I wonder if that's a person who knew what my opinions, if they would wish death on me. I have ve- can't really wrap my mind around someone that would think that way. Like even through this past year, I've reflected on this past year a lot. Some of the other podcasts that me and Chris did, some of the stuff got really heated. When it comes to the fact that there are a few people responsible for employing a registered sex offender who molested his own students there at SWAC, where he's proctoring GED exams for teen girls, that got hot. And I don't think ever once Chris and I insinuated that something violent should happen to any of those people. And I mean, these are literally people who brought a freaking sex offender into our college. And there have been complaints against him, and the college has buried them. And never once did we, you know, I think Chris might have said something like they're evil people or something like that, which maybe that's even crossing a line. There have been times when I've called Jeff Merkley a pervert. I will absolutely 100% stand by the fact that I believe passing a law that allows grown men with a swinging penis to invite themselves into women and girls' locker rooms whenever they see fit is perverted. Like, by definition of the word, look the word up. I'm using the word by definition. Now, to call that perverted, I think is fair, but I don't know that it's fair for me to call Jeff Merkley a pervert. Whether or not, no, regardless of what I think of him, I think it is a moral imperative that he be replaced. I do not think he's fit to serve in leadership. But for me to attack him personally, I don't know that that is appropriate or fair, even given the absolutely vile nature of what he's trying to do. I don't think I would ever insinuate that someone should just hit him with a shovel. Like, that's a level of sickness that I am struggling with right now. And I maybe I wanted to make this video because I want to know if there's other people out there that are just absolutely floored by the callousness and how people could be so lost that they revel in joy at the suffering of others. And I think that's kind of what has hurt my heart the most, is to know that people could just be so uncaring. Like, it hurts, man. And I don't, like, do other people feel this? Are other people picking up on this stuff? And it's kind of like consumed my mind over the past week. And I guess I'm working through it my own way, right? And at some point it'll resolve. But it's like I see this stuff everywhere on social media. Right? I have removed uh, some stuff and people from my Facebook to try to curb some of the stuff I'm seeing, and it's not working because it's everywhere. I just don't understand how, like, there is a group who I found online who is doxing I. Are we back? It did the reconnecting thing again. Yeah, so I came across a group that they were doxing ICE agents. But when it came to the website that was reposting celebrations of Charlie's death so that people could see, like, see what they wrote, they had a major problem with that doxing. I've always, man, hypocrisy really bothers me. Now, I understand nuance. I understand that things that look similar can be very different. And I understand that, you know, let's give an example of, like, okay, if killing is wrong, why would we give the death penalty to someone who killed Charlie? Like, if killing Charlie is wrong, shouldn't killing that person be wrong too? No, it's not. And I don't want to give, it's just an example that comes to mind because I was just having this conversation with someone. No, it is different because of due process, and due process is a part of our social contract. It goes back to Socrates. It was later expanded on by uh Plato and Aristotle. And so there's some really good stuff on that our justice system is founded on. And so no, those things are not the same. And so, it can be, I think, on the outside, things that look hypocritical can not be when you explore them further and differentiate and open up that nuance. But There is a lot of true hypocrisy. I mean, when people say we need to really temper this violence and then launch right into a diatribe about quote unquote right wing hate, you're doing the thing. If you're a person who then turns around and blames an entire group of people, you're the frickin' problem. Treat people like individuals. And like the words that people use, like someone mentioned libtard. Yeah, it's not a nice thing to say. And frankly, I don't think liberals are the problem. So we're not dealing with radical liberals. We're dealing with radical leftists. Again, I would refer to classic philosophy. So somehow kind of goes back to the Greeks. I don't know. What do you guys think? I kind of wonder if I'm like spending too much time thinking about it, but I feel like I keep seeing it everywhere, and it's kind of shaking my sense of goodness in people. And maybe that goodness was never really there, and I was being naive. I would like to think it is. Um, But man, I would really encourage people to consider before you say something about others, say it about yourself first and see how it fits. See how that shoe fits you. If you're going to say something bad about a group of people, just cross their names out and put a different group of people and then hear how ugly it sounds. Because, like many people have said, all of us have people who don't like us. So, everything nasty that we think about other people, there's someone out there that thinks it about you too, thinks it about me too. It was maggots, the MAGA maggots. It's all growth. It's all just lumping people in. And you really do. I am now seeing people lump me in with right wing conservative extremists. How? Like, so if people are willing to lie that much about me, guess what? There's people out there that are going to believe it. And it maybe as individuals, what we need to do is just not be willing to believe this stuff. I was hopped on Facebook to scroll and read some news and whatnot. Three stories in a row. I was like, wow, that's remarkable. Do a quick Google search and it's not even remotely true. Like, bam, 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 one after another. Like, these were like top stories with like 56,000 comments. Like, can we not even, if something sounds kind of fishy, can we just like use the same tool in our pocket that we're looking at lies to like fact check stuff before we share it? And I mean, I've been guilty of it too. It's like really embarrassing. But man, people are so quick to believe lies. I had someone spreading a rumor that I charge $500 an hour for my coaching. No, I don't. The program is, if it's that's like a month's worth of coaching, for the full program. And so it's stuff like that. I just like, please stop believing stuff, you guys. Do a quick Google search. Because I think a lot of this hatred is coming from people who just believe what's told to them. At least I hope. I mean, the alternative is like dark. But I mean, man, if you're a person who finds yourself, what did that musician say? I don't really care for him, but he made a song about if you hate guns, but you love the gun that shot your enemy, then you don't hate guns. And I mean, that's some pretty poignant hypocrisy, isn't it? So I don't know. I mean, I have several other topics lined up that I want to talk about. My brain has just been kind of a little bit like in woe, just whoa. Especially after watching all of his video, and not all of them, but like watching a lot of his videos, and specifically the ones where things are taken out of context. It was watching his videos and seeing the context and seeing the love and caring pouring out of him. We all understand that you can disagree with someone and still love them, right? Like, or is that just like a some of us thing? Are there people out there that are incapable of caring about others if they disagree with them? Because if there are, that's kind of a terrifying thought, and I would go as far as to say it's quite a character flaw. And it gets into what I was saying in my video here last week about care and how care can mean two different things. How can you take caring action if your care is always rooted in your personal emotion? How can you care about people you don't like? I don't think you can. And so I think people whose caring is based on their emotion shouldn't be in positions of leadership. Um, I don't know how a person cannot grieve for the humanness. Like, how a person can be so something that I don't even have the word for. Or maybe they're just words that I don't want to use in this video. I don't know how a person can be missing that piece that lets you mourn someone's humanity. Like, how far removed from humanness must you be to not even care? And like, all the dude did was like believe in the Bible. And if you're someone who thinks the Bible is a bad book of bad things, you don't get to have that opinion for everyone. Like, people get to have religious beliefs. And if we disagree with those religious beliefs, it's too bad. I do believe that Charlie did speak quite a bit about honoring the separation of church and state, although he does reference a lot of the church written in our state documents, that we were not founded as a secular nation. And a lot, it's facts. Like, I think it's in his mind, probably very simple, because he is a Christian, he's a believer, he's a Christian believer, and so for his mind it all makes sense. For those of us who don't believe in a creator and don't believe that Jesus was the son of God, that stuff needs a more universal application. We need more universal language. We can't just gear everything towards one religion, because that's not what America's about either, right? But I just can't. I did not get the hate from him. Like, there are people who think that I am worthless because I never reproduced. Like, there, as a woman, there are people who think women's job is to make babies, and if you don't make babies, you are a waste and you don't have any use on this planet. That's a pretty gross opinion in my eyes, but people are allowed to have that opinion. I would never even, it would never go through my mind that that person should be killed for having an opinion that I think is dehumanizing, even. So, to all those people that are like, well, he was just so bad. Bro, he wasn't. He didn't break any laws. People who are bad break laws. And I mean, people can go through all the, well, you can still be a bad person and break laws. Sure, I guess you can. But if you're not breaking laws, what are you doing that's affecting us all? Oh, bad attitude? So does someone have deserve to die over a bad attitude? No, Charlie didn't break any laws. He was literally just exercising his First Amendment rights and his right to religious freedom. I don't, I just, man, maybe I'm trying to understand something that can't be understood. And maybe there's a part of me that's frustrated because I see how much of this is blatant mental illness, and we're all being expected to act like it's normal. Like, it's crazy people talking crazy talk. And we're all being forced to take it seriously. And I wish we could go back to a time where we acknowledged that people were mentally ill and shouldn't be taken as seriously. Because when people espouse blind, ignorant hate, I don't think that we should give credit to that and say, well, he really upset a lot of people. That's insane. And I think it's the level of insanity of it that has me so shaken up. Um, I don't know what I mean, I'm kind of like rambling because my brain is lost, and I'm hoping that maybe somebody will have I don't like some nugget of wisdom in there for me. But it's just I can't I don't even have the motivation to really like do my deep dive social stuff videos that I have lined up because I'm just like my head is spinning from like just trying to make sense of the senseless, trying to make sense of how people can be so motivated to hate based on lies. And I like when people were posting this stuff, I went looking for it because I wanted to see like where did Charlie espouse genocide? Where did Charlie say that gays should be stoned? Where did he say all of these? Where did he preach white supremacy? Um, and I couldn't find any of it. And no one is posting videos. They're posting these little quote snippets. No one is posting videos that corroborate these accusations. Do you know why? Because the video proves that the dude was like just straight up pure love. Like he just poured into people. I watch him and I'm like, there's no way I could do what he was doing. He was so kind to people. And all he did was just ask them. And he, time after time after time, I watched him tell people, like, I'm not going to tell you how to live your life, but I think God would want you to love the body you were born in. What is hateful about that? What is wrong with that? Um, telling people that I disagree with your lifestyle, but I respect your right to live how you'd like to live. People are allowed to disagree with your lifestyle. People are allowed to disagree with my lifestyle. Like, the dude was not advocating for laws to limit anyone's right to live however they'd see fit. So, why do some feel so entitled to take that so, like, to twist that into something evil? I don't know. I don't know. Um, I think my brain is just kind of lost at it all. And I think this is why it's the same heaviness that made me delete my profile in 2020 because I just didn't want to see how horrible people can be to each other. Um, I do 2020 was kind of I've mentioned this before. It was kind of a turning point for me where I just really looked around me and it was a wake up call where I got confronted with all of these beliefs that I had that did not hold up under pressure testing. And I'm seeing now people reveal themselves in similar ways. Um, and I thought one of the really disturbing parts of this is trying to find middle ground with people and saying, hey, when you post things like if you voted for Trump, you're a Nazi. Um, I just want to reach out and tell you that I'm not a Nazi. And that was a really hurtful thing to say about a wide group, like over 50% of the population. I don't think 50% of America are Nazis. Now, fast forward a few months. And I had that conversation with someone private, and that person in private told me that I just shouldn't take it so personal. Like zero accountability, zero remorse, zero understanding, zero like meeting me any part of the way through to just say, I can see how you would, nope, nope, just, well, maybe, you shouldn't take things so personally. And I could go back and read the exact words were verbatim, but that was the gist of it. And just, when I realized the conversation wasn't going to go anywhere, I was just like, I guess you're right. Maybe I just shouldn't take it so personally. And because the conversation was, I was getting nothing. I was getting zero consideration from this person. And then it kind of happened again. Only this time I commented publicly and said something to the effect of, can we just not victim blame? Can we agree on that? And it basically broke down into the person yielding nothing. Like, I even reframed this person's words to show that if you were to say this about a different group of people, it would come off as 1990s slut shaming. Maybe you could just think about, and it was like it didn't even get in. And of course, myself being on the receiving end of political threats, and me trying to explain to this person that, like, you realize that you straight up mischaracterized him and then proceeded to participate in this us versus them uh mentality. Like, you're doing the thing. And it was like nothing. It was like nothing got through to this person at all. Like, this person was so sure that they're right that it wasn't even a like, oh wow, I could see how that could be taken that way. I definitely didn't mean it that way. Like, zero humility. If that person does not care at all the way they affect the people around them that they actually know, yeah, I could see how they would be so remorseless or so callous. Um, for me personally, it's definitely, I mean, I'm always up for cleaning up the social circle, but man, I think we have to be careful what kind of darkness we let people bring into our life, because this stuff is so dark. And I'm really, like, not a religious person. I'm not, the woo-woo type of person. I know I always say that, but, like, when you see, like, the type of darkness inside of someone that just completely disregards another person's humanity. I mean, completely disregard. Like, I one of the things that I did want to get into in one of my talks is dehumanization. And I think I'm going to do that another time. My brain is too all over the place right now. Um, seen a few people mention that this has inspired them to develop their faith. It's actually kind of just um, encouraged me to get to know the scripture a little bit better, because I do think it can offer some guiding principles. When we are looking at societies, Deuteronomy is actually really good for that. It's always been one of my favorite books. Yes. But just kind of getting back in touch with, I love uh, Niche Tai. I can never. It's like a three-part name, and I can never remember the author's name. But it's the heart of the Buddhist teaching. It's a really good book. It's a little bit dense with Buddhist scripture, but that's another good one. I've run across so many people that want to reconnect with their spirituality. And man, that is so beautiful. I do teach a coaching course. It's a 90-day course on just reconnecting with specifically that which is greater. So it's a course that aligns people in their everyday life with their spirituality by setting up those habits. So it gets people to break out of the habit of disregarding their spirituality and build habits that incorporate that back into their daily lives. So that's a really cool one if people are interested. I don't really advertise it as much, but at this time, if people are looking to build that connection and really bring your spirituality into your life in a way that guides you, so that when we look at a situation, we say, what would XYZ do? And we're modeling ourselves off of that higher word. So that's kind of a silver lining, I guess, to see people wanting to rekindle that. And I will say, been an atheist my whole life. It's just the way my brain is wired. I have all the respect for religion and beliefs in a creator. But I will say to those who are rejoicing that a man of God was murdered, I think this whole thing has brought me personally closer to the concept of God. So fail on their part. I think I'm probably one of many who feels a closer connection to brothers and sisters in Christ because of this. What I've seen from Christians over the past week has been really, really inspiring and heartwarming. It sure has been a candle in the darkness, man. During COVID, we didn't have that necessarily strong, positive, temperate movement. It was very draconian. And boy, you saw what people would do once they had a little bit of power. And this time around, I really want to thank the Christians for stepping up with love because I think it's been the thing that would have made Charlie the most proud. And it's been the thing that has offered the most healing going through all of this and seeing all of the nasty, seeing how many people are just wanting to be a force for love. That's pretty cool. And so, to those who are celebrating, just know that all it did was bring us closer together. And I'm so grateful that we live in a world now where I, as an atheist Buddhist, can celebrate and mourn with Christians. And we can understand each other on a deeper philosophical level. Um, the meaning behind the scripture. We can bond over the meaning. And where we disagree on lifestyle, we can now agree to disagree and allow adults to make decisions on how they'd like to organize their life without harassment. That has been a little bit of an evolution for Christians over the past 20 or 30 years, hasn't it? Because Christianity, and I grew up with Christians who told people that if they didn't accept Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior, they would burn in hell. And as a little kid who doesn't understand why you just don't believe in this stuff, that is insanely hurtful. And I carried those scars around with me for a really, really long time. It took a long time for me to forgive Christianity for the childhood I had and the way I was treated by Christians as a child. My hope is that through this, as Christians reacquaint themselves with their faith, more people watch Charlie's videos, more people learn to engage in dialogue that helps us connect with each other. I hope Christians hold on to that ability to connect with people who are not like them because Charlie could. I didn't realize how many people he was connected to. People that he vehemently, or not, I mean, not vehemently, but people who he admitted he disagreed with their lifestyle. He was connected to people from all walks of life. And a lot of people owe their professional career to him. And I didn't know that. He did not discriminate. He truly was an equal opportunity employer. And he gave everyone an opportunity to step up to that microphone. He gave everyone an opportunity to say what was on their mind. He never took a voice away from anyone. And if you're someone who didn't know that, I mean, I don't go find out, man. And so that today, I know this is kind of a ramble, because my brain is a scramble. I'd love to hear what, more of you think. And I wish there's a way that we could have like these, like a video. What do they do? The live stream podcasts or whatever. We will get more sophisticated and get some software set up so like we could have oh, it's reconnected. Sorry, I have to entertain myself when it reconnects. I'm on satellite. And so while we do have a really good satellite system, it's Starlink and it is pretty good. We're really rural and satellite is what it is. But yeah, I mean, does any of this stuff resonate with you guys? Do you think that maybe it is the fact that we know that if they thought that about Charlie, they probably think about it. They probably think the same thing about us too. Like, it's just so hurtful. It's so hurtful when you know that it's someone I mean, close to you. Could be somebody really close to you. Could be someone that you just thought liked you. And then you hear what they have to say about someone who you share a lot of beliefs with. And, like there was stuff that I disagreed with Charlie about, but I will never have an opportunity to share my arguments with him because that opportunity was taken from all of us. Now, knowing who Charlie was, in hindsight, I probably would have bought a plane ticket and I probably would have went to go ask him about my views on abortion. And of course, he would defer back to the Bible, but it would be really, really interesting to see that back and forth because I have a very unusual perspective on it. And I like to be able to talk to these things about people or talk about these things with people. But yeah, we're living in a crazy world. And I think we just were reminded of how crazy it really is. Um, I have a surgery coming up. I've mentioned it a couple of times. And reading some of the absolutely unhinged hate that people have written on the internet makes me wonder if someone who saw my videos and hated me that much would like walk into my recovery room while I was still unconscious and inject my IV with tap water. I mean, what is stopping when you pull back the curtain and you're like, what is that, a demon? And I'm being facetious, I mean, I don't want to, I really don't want to be a hypocrite and incite hate. And I don't want a blanket statement. And I really am thinking of like really specific instances of things that I've seen that, like, if people are that filled with hate over just basic boundaries, like the fact that I don't think men should be able to expose their penis to an 8-year-old little girl that and view her naked body while her mommy's changing her in a locker room. How do you guys think locker rooms work? That's where people get naked. Like, I'm sorry, but sex-based boundaries are important. And I have learned over the past week that there's people who think I should die for believing that. So that's heavy. I've never once, I don't think ever in my life, heard an opinion like that I disagree with and thought you should die for the way you think. Now, don't get me wrong. There are people that I think should be fed feet first through a wood chipper, but that is my own personal morality. That is not our ethics. That is not our group consensus. And so we put our personal opinions aside. But I'm sorry, if you rape babies, I don't I judge people on their actions. And that's a pretty, I think Florida has the right idea with, and again, I make jokes or I'm facetious, but a judge, a jury, um, due process. the right to representation, all these things matter. And I think Florida had it right when they decided to put child rapists to death. And and I think the people in Florida live by that social contract. And if they don't like it, I think they should leave Florida. But that is your social contract. And so knowing the consequences, right? Because now, as a person who chooses to act, you know the consequences. So if you do something that you know carries the death penalty, you should receive the death penalty. And that does go back to, I always say, if you're in America, we are free to choose how we live. That's what freedom means. I mean, that's what liberty means. We're free to choose how we live, and we're free to choose how we die. So if you choose to die by capital punishment for raping a child in the state of Florida, you have the freedom to choose how you die, and it is not any of our right or responsibility to pass moral judgment on that, because that is Florida's social contract. And it works within the confines of our Constitution. So yeah, it's been a heavy week of realizing that maybe none of us are as safe as we thought we were. It's scary that there's people out there that really, if you put up a boundary and say, no, I'm not going to participate in this. No, you're not allowed to take rights that are not for you. No, you're not allowed to insert yourself into these places where you are not entitled to be. There are people who think that we deserve to die for having that opinion, and we deserve to die for not allowing them to cross any boundary they want, to transgress on any person they want. And I don't, I guess maybe I'm like so, like just spinning out about it because I don't have any kind of solution that works like within the confines of our Constitution. The problem is so big and so pervasive. Obviously, our mass media is a terrible, terrible, terrible problem. I would say that the vast majority of it is coming from our mass media. They use hyper-inflammatory language. Threat to democracy was used against Trump probably tens of thousands of times. Really, really inflammatory rhetoric, nationalism, just things that aren't happening or that are happening at such a crazy fringe low level. But the vast majority of people are just not these extremists that they're being made out to be. So we know mass media is a major, major problem. No one knows what to do about it. We know that that income inequality is a major, major problem. As the gap between the very, very rich and the very, very poor grows, social problems arise. Now, where we get caught up is the difference between wealth and income. A person can be wealthy because they own very, very profitable or high value businesses. That doesn't mean that that person has that money. It doesn't mean that that person is living off of that money. That money is wrapped up in the business, and usually the profits that these companies make is for a lot of them that are really successful right now gets reinvested back into the business, paid out to shareholders or paid in dividends, things like that. I think we overlook the huge group of people that are being paid anywhere from 50 to $200 million a year. Just insane. I mean, maybe lower than 50 million is still, I mean, if you're being paid $10 million a year, that's a lot of money. So we think of wealth and we think of, oh, the top billionaires. Those guys, yes, I get that looks shocking but those people are so wealthy because they own a lot of assets, not because they're necessarily paying out huge amounts of money to themselves. You look at these companies, I think Goodwill pays 20, 65 million. God, now I'm going to misquote it. They pay tens of millions of dollars to their, I should have my computer open so I can like fact check while I do it. But you guys can look it up. Um, Goodwill, their CEO makes millions. And maybe I'm thinking of the larger, I think each independent one has its own, and then there's one major one. Anyway, so we kind of overlook these people who are making millions of dollars a year, but they're not billionaires. They're kind of skirting under the radar, and that does produce a major income gap. Like so well, like that's what I mean when wealth and income are different. I don't, I had an idea back in my 20s to do a 20x, 20 times. It was to create a pact or a certificate or something where an organization could show that no one at the top makes more than 20 times what someone at the bottom makes. And I came up with that number, I think, on an average, because some of these corporations, you guys, their CEO is making like 350 times what the lowest paid employee is making. That's the real gap, the money gap. So when people just point the finger at billionaires, I can't really get behind that because it ignores the actual income gap between the very high paid and the very low paid. Um, between those problems, I don't know. I guess I just don't have any solutions, and I usually come with solutions, and this time it's just I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do about people who speak out one side of their mouth that we need temperance and we need to calm down the political rhetoric. And then right out the other side of the mouth, we'll say something like, if these hateful maggot Trump supporters would just, and it's like, did you hear what you just said, guy? Like, can we all just take a harder look at ourselves than we look at other people? I know the last week I have really looked at myself and wondered, like, how am I part of this problem? Or conversely, how can I be part of this solution? And again, I really do think it's replacing these people with us. And I don't want to do it I don't like politics, you guys. I just want to be a life coach, you guys. I love it. And I love my clients. I know I'm biased, but my clients really truly are the best people on the planet. So it's a pleasure to work with them. But I don't want to have a career in politics. And so it's going to be important that everybody's willing, anybody who can. And so that's one of the things I really want to do as commissioner here in Coos County is work with our local organizations to really build up political leaders and not through an ideological pipeline. I want to find people who think for themselves and challenge the status quo and ask a lot of tough questions and also come with potential solutions to work through. So really want to build that leadership up in the county and then hopefully throughout the state. Um, Teach the American people how to get involved in the democratic process because you guys, this is not a spectator sport. Democracy only lives to the degree that we all pump life into it. So it is up to us. I mean, nobody's coming to save us. Nobody. Elon Musk thinks he's going to put people on Mars. Elon, if you don't solve for human destructiveness, somebody is going to kill everybody on that new planet. I mean, all it takes is one freak out and you break something on a shuttle or on a station. So if if nobody else, none of our most brilliant, wealthy minds have a solution to the human violence problem, and maybe they don't want to solve it. I don't know. If you get big and we talk, and this is where I kind of like love talking to my Christian friends because I can kind of do like theological thought experiments with them. Like if this is part of a larger evil, wouldn't they want these people to be emotionally dysregulated and violent because it increases control? It increases the opportunity. Chaos increases the opportunity for control. So whenever you see a person behaving um, erratically, it's a way to get control. When you create chaos, then you can control the environment because now everybody is responding to the chaos. So you've got them all, you've got control over them all. So I don't know. I mean, maybe the people who could solve the problem don't actually want to. I have waffled between being one of those people that thought that the earth needed fewer humans, which, if you look at it logically, like in my 20s, if you look at it just purely logically, ecologically, humans have no natural predators. Nothing's picking us off. We're out of balance with the planet. But as I've gained more wisdom and experience, I think it's not a quantity problem, it's a quality problem. I think this planet could sustain an enormous number of humans, but not the kind of people that we have cheering for murder. We can't, I don't think this planet can support any more of people like that. And I don't know what to do about it. Charlie's approach was to turn them and point them toward Jesus. And I think that works. I do think that's effective. I think for a lot of people, I would say for the overwhelming majority of people, they have a God shaped hole in their heart. And a lot of people need that connection. Um, anyway, I think that's all I've got. Thank you for everyone who tuned in and watches my lives. I'm gonna be putting all of this stuff on a YouTube video or on a YouTube channel. I'm gonna have a couple of different channels because I want to separate out my commissioner stuff. Um, and so I'm gonna get an actual channel going with this stuff on it and set up and maybe do like a little bit better videos or something. Because I'm live, I can't really like cut, and it's just like a steady stream, which I'm doing a terrible job of today. But that'll give me a little bit more options to make a little bit better videos if people are interested in those. Anyway, I will see you guys. I'll probably make a video here on Wednesday when we go back out for the petitions. Um, I just kind of want to get some of those feelings off my chest. Boy, they're big, heavy feelings. And I can't be the only one that's looking around and going, wow, if you'd say that about him, you'd probably you probably want me dead too. And it's a scary thought. Anyway, I'm going to try to like generate some positivity. I'm going to go do some coaching stuff, and that always lifts my spirits. So, talk to everyone soon. Take care of yourselves and be safe. Bye bye.